Today we're going to be making a starter coil. This is made with raffia. I have 3 pieces of raffia here, and we're going to put these together in a long line, and then we're going to grab one thin piece of raffia and we're going to tie a knot around the top here, leaving enough so you can actually tuck those into your coil weave. The first step is to tie a knot. I use a knot like this, so I put a loop, have that behind, and then tuck the 2 loose ends into the loop and then pull tight. So you're going to have a short end and a long end. This short end is going to be tucked into what's called your coil, and then you're going to bend it over and make a U shape. This long piece here will be your working piece, and that's going to be used to make the coil and wrap around your core. So I'm just going to thread this end onto the needle, and this will be to wrap around your core. So holding it like this, the long pieces should all be tucked over to your right hand side, and the working piece should be attached like that. We're going to tie one single knot like this around all of the raffia and pull tight, and you'll end up with a loop like this. This here is your working piece, which is wrapped around the core, and you're going to try and pull that as tight as possible, and at the very end you should have a little loop. This loop here will be the center of your coil, and we're going to hold the needle with your right hand. In the left hand you're going to hold your weaving, and we're going to work stitches into the center, and we're going to move around and around. So needle through the center, push the needle through, and notice how I'm actually pinching with my left hand, and I'm going to hold it very tight with my left hand, pull the needle through and go back through the loop, pulling it quite tight, pinching with your left hand, and your first stitch is done. And then we're going to move our way around this loop, pushing the raffia down, putting the needle through the center hole, pulling the needle and coming back through that loop. Pull quite tight, again making sure that you're pinching with the left hand, and then we're going to do this again. Needle through, pushing the raffia down, pulling the needle through, and then back through the loop. And we're going to repeat this process until we make our way all around the loop. You can see our first few stitches. Again, the same thing. Needle through, pull the needle through, and come back through the loop. And if you find that your circle in the middle is getting loose, what you can do is pull your raffia pieces to tighten that center hole. You may not see it right now, but you can push your needle through at any point again and start that process again. Pushing the raffia down, pinching, pulling the needle through and back through the loop. You can see that we've made a few stitches there. I'll continue making this same stitch over and over until I reach the other side. Needle through, needle back through the loop. We're almost at the other side. Push that raffia down, pinch it, put the needle through, and back through that loop. And again, if that hole becomes bigger, you can just pull the raffia on the right side, and that will make that hole nice and small again. In this piece here, you can see that we're starting to run out of raffia. So what you can do is just put your needle down, grab a piece of raffia, a nice long piece from your core, and we're going to use that as our new piece to become the working stitch. So you can see I've just tucked that small little bit from our last stitch into the core, and we'll use this nice long piece that I've pulled out to start again. With your first one that you're using, just make sure to push the needle through the back of the last stitch. Push this one back into the core, and then we start again. So making sure that you grab your core, push down that raffia, needle through the center of that hole, pull, 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 and coming back through the loop. And we're almost at the other side, so we'll do one more stitch. And you can see here that we've made our first round. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work in the little loops that you can see on the edge. You're going to be putting your needle through each of these loops to continue doing your weaving. Now what you do is you grab your needle, and you can find it by pushing the needle through. You can see how I've just pushed it through that first loop, and we're doing the same stitch again. Push that raffia down, pull the needle through, and then back through the loop. And we're going to continue that stitch around in each loop. So there's your next loop. Push the raffia down, pull the needle through, and come back through that loop that you've just made. Next one is there, so we're going to push that needle through again, push the raffia down, pinching with your left hand, pull the needle through, and then back through that loop. As you can see here, we've just done almost our first round, and any of these little pieces that you see hanging off here, these can be trimmed off at any time. You can continue weaving and cut these off at the end, but they will tuck in as you continue to go through each of those loops. So find that next loop, push the needle through, making sure that you come back through that loop. That will lock it all into place. So your working stitch is going to continue going round and round and round and wrap around this core. So if you need to add more to your core, all you would do is you put your needle aside, push everything into your core, grab a new piece of raffia. I've got this beautiful turquoise that I'm going to work into this coil. Thread it onto your needle. Just like before, when you add in a new piece, you start at the back, so you'll get your needle with your new raffia on it, go in the last stitch that you made through that loop, and keep on pulling until you're almost at the end, and that new piece will be tucked into your core. So that little loose end, you want to tuck that in along with the last stitch that you made, and that's your new piece that you'll be working with. And you would continue doing the same stitch. So we'd look for the next loop, which is here, push the needle through, pull the needle, and come back through the loop. You can see that's the first stitch. Next loop, make sure to put that needle in, push all the raffia down, pinching with your left hand, pull the needle and come back through the loop. And if you find that you don't want too many gaps, you can work more than one stitch in each of these loops. So what I'd like to do, because this stitch is quite large, I'm going to do a second stitch inside the same loop. So put that needle through again, pull it through and then back through the loop. And you might have noticed I use my left hand just to pinch to pull it quite tight. Next loop, put your needle through, push that raffia down, pinching with your left hand, pull the needle through and back through the loop. And I'm going to continue this process until I go all the way around. If you want to add colour inside your core, all you would do to add in some colour is grab a new piece of raffia and just tuck it in. So you would tuck that into your core and that would add a new piece of raffia. So we'll do the loop again and that will lock that new piece of raffia into place. And you can trim off these ends at the very end, or you can tuck them in, put them into your back. Just remember to keep it quite consistent. If your core becomes quite thick, you might get quite a thick round, but these ends can be trimmed off at the end. Work through the next loop, push that needle in, pinching with your left hand, tuck all that raffia down, pull, and the needle back through that loop. And you can see there, I've got quite a few stitches now working around, and we're going to continue the same process until we're happy with our coil. Any small bits like that can be trimmed off later on. There we go.